Going on, Falcon fan? This is your boy Ricardo coming back at you with another video. So today we're gonna talk about some unfortunate news that we have from Atlanta Falcons. You know, I guess the old saying, when it rains it pours. Falcons on a 5-game losing streak. Then the news of two major injuries to report for the Atlanta Falcons offense. We'll talk about it today. We'll talk about being a fan of the Atlanta Falcons and what that actually means if you're a real fan. Um, and I definitely got my thoughts on that about that. And then last but not least, where do the Atlanta Falcons move from here? Um, going up to these last 7 games, especially with the injury of Michael Penix, what did that mean for the future? Where did the teams go? Go next. So we'll definitely talk about all those good things today, and that's the where we're gonna be today. So guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you're not dropping another video. Please hit the like button, so I know you guys are here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come here to talk about. That's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So let's get right into the bad news for today for our team. Um, most of us probably felt like we're going to come in. We're going to talk about the Atlanta Falcons devastating loss. We are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Carolina Panthers, but we have to start off with Michael Penix Jr. and Drake London. Um, with Penix Jr., it's reported that he maybe have a partial tear in his ACL. It's not been 100% confirmed yet. He's going to get a second opinion, but he is put on IR for for the next 4 games at least. More than likely, he's out for the entire season. The Atlanta Falcons have a really good medical staff, and if they determine, by images today that it's don't look good for the rest of the season, probably right. But it's always good to go get a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe it turns out, it's not as bad as it is. Maybe he not might maybe not even need surgery. We'll see. Um, and if not, that will be good for him. The biggest thing about Michael Penix is that we all know his injury history, and the young man have been through a lot. You go back to his Indiana days. I think he had 4 injuries there, a couple to his legs, to his shoulders. Couldn't stay on the field, but when he did play, he had Indiana in a good spot. You go look at some of those teams that he led, while he was on the center. But he finally, was able to break through with the Washington Huskies when he went out there, and his 2 electrifying seasons that he had out there. He was able to stay healthy. Um, and then everybody knows about his letter to the NFL about the things that he had to go through, and it kind of builds the character. Yeah, so this is a major setback for him. I think for me, when I think about it, it has nothing to do about the win loss of the season. It's more about the fact that in this case, Michael Penix Jr. Um, just still won't have time to stunning his growth. Right, I think these seven games would have been big for his career, being big for the franchise to continue to get better, week in and week out. Now that's been put on halt. Determined on the injury, no telling when he's going to be able to, get back on the field. More than likely, he won't be ready for, OTAs and things like that. Maybe, maybe not even training camp. We'll just have to see that timeline. We'll get a better idea, once the off season starts, where his timeline is and things like that. So, it's just unfortunate. You listen to the head coach, you can tell the young man is probably hurting, especially going through the things he went through in college. Maybe thought he had finally made it over that hump. But now, he's got to get back to business, get back to rehab, get better, and get back on the field. Um, this is one of the risks you could get somebody that, had an injury history that he had that was so extensive, come in and always be this. Look at the play, like his leg just got caught up under there. Now, one good thing, if it is a silver lining in this, is the fact that Michael Penix um, is not to where he had the two um, ACLs on that one leg, right? So that's a good thing. It is the same knee that he had the bone bruise with earlier this year. However, it's not on the leg where he had ACL injuries before. So that is a good thing. So it's not the same leg. So it's not like it's a recurring injury again on that same leg that he had. This is another the other leg, which is like I said, you have to look at it, some kind of silver lining in this, and that's what I'm talking about. It's not a silver lining you get injured, but the fact that it's not on the same leg, it's the other leg. Um, hopefully he come back on a full recovery. You know, those injuries did not hurt his athleticism that he had. So big time now for Michael Penix just to come back and get healthy, and hopefully, it won't be too long before he's back on the field. I think the biggest thing for me is, like I said, it's just the fact that he still will not be able to play the full season. So we the jury's still out on what Michael Penix can be, for this franchise and be the starting quarterback for us. In my opinion, transitioning, if we want to talk about the game yesterday, I think if Michael Penix stayed in that game, Atlanta Falcons probably come away with the win. Um, and nothing they're taking nothing away from Kirk Cousins, but they had a game plan set up that was really, I thought he was playing really well, man. Um, you know, so it is what it is in this case. But let's hopefully get back. Let's pray for him, and let's see, can we get Michael Penix back on the field as soon as possible. Um, let's go to Drake London. Now, Drake London is not a season-ending injury. However, he is probably going to be sidelined for a couple of weeks. Definitely know he's not playing against the New Orleans Saints this weekend. Yes, guys, it's Saints week. It's not even exciting as it usually be because the Falcons is on a downward, downward spiral right now, for us winning games and things like that. And like I said, when it rains, it pours. So just get worse and worse when you think about it. But Drake London's not there. We already was having issues, being able to have another pass catcher be productive for this Atlanta Falcons team. But we got guys like Casey Washington have opportunity to stand up. Um, David Seals, who they somehow believe in so much, he's going to get an opportunity to actually to see what he can show. Um, I talked about Nick Nash. I think it's a good opportunity to elevate, bring him up from the practice squad and bring him up to the 53-man roster. Of course, you got Darnell Mooney. He had a lot of good chemistry with Kirk Cousins last year. Let's see, can he build that? And then Kyle Pitts, man. Kyle Pitts, this is an opportunity to show why he was the number 4 overall pick. He should be one of the feature targets for Kirk Cousins, especially this week and moving forward until Drake London comes back. So I think it was a PCL for Drake. But Raheem's so vague day to day. It's more than day to day. It's probably week to week more than day to day. So we'll definitely get an opportunity to see what when Drake London's come back. But there you have it, guys. The two major injuries. Divine Diablo is due to be back on the field this week. If everything goes right, he's actually should be a goal to go play this Sunday as well. They start the 21-day window, but if everything goes right, he should be on the field ready to go this Sunday. All right, that is good news, guys. Look at that. Guys like Zach Harrison should be back as well. D. Alford is in concussion protocol, so we will see if he'll be able to pass that. Mike Hughes potentially feels better. So look like we're getting some guys back on the defensive side of the ball, which definitely is going to be needed to be able to stop the Aints, who's got a big win, before they went in their bye against the Carolina Panthers or all teams. That's where it is, guys. So those are injuries. Hopefully we get all these guys back on the defensive side of the ball. They could be more stout and be able to help this offense, which is probably going to look a little different on the center. Hopefully Kirk Cousins get on the center more, where I think it's more his strength, right? Being able to utilize that play action pass. He have a whole week to prepare. Matter of fact, he knows he's going to be a starter at least to the next 4 weeks, probably the rest of the season. I know, Penix probably being optimistic here, going to get a second opinion, but it sounds like he's going to be out for the season. And depending when, where the Atlanta Falcons at in the potential playoff push, probably would probably been a good idea not to bring Michael Penix back this season anyway. So there you have it. Let me know what you guys think about the actual injury report. So far, we haven't got the official injury report starting on Wednesday. We'll get more of that later on this week. But there you have it. Preliminaries where we look like what we're going to look like. We're going to have this week for our Atlanta Falcons. All right. Let's talk about the get some of these comments out first. Penix has 5 knee issues dating back to high school. Basically, he has the same knee issue similar to what caused Todd Gurley in his career, but they have different technology now. Okay, like that's melancholy. You have to bring that up. We didn't want to know that. We didn't need to know all that. So, thanks for nothing. all right. Let's go. Panthers games. All right, let's talk about this Panther games, guys. So one thing we're going to say about the Carolina Panthers game is that the Carolina Panthers have beat the Atlanta Falcons for 3 straight games. So it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke. The Atlanta Falcons have been competitive in 2 of them. Matter of fact, the last 2 games played in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium has actually been overtime games. So both of those games have really been competitive. Of course, we know about the week 3 this year when the Carolina Panthers beat the Atlanta Falcons 30-0. But both of these games have been really competitive. And at this point in time, I just feel like this coaching staff for the Carolina Panthers has Raheem Morris' number in his coaching staff, right? Bryce Young come out and looked exactly like the number 1 overall pick when he plays the Atlanta Falcons. He had a career day yesterday. Every crucial play that Bryce Young had to make yesterday, he actually made it. It's just that simple. And you have to tip your head off to good quarterback play when you see it, man. They put pressure on him, and he made the plays that need to be made. That's just the bottom line. When they had to have a go-ahead touchdown, 4th quarter, under a minute left in the game, he delivered, right? He drove the ball down the field, and he put it in the end zone. Another way to look at it, and they has clearly just outplayed the Atlanta Falcons in these last 3 games, right? And obviously they want to make it a rivalry against the Atlanta Falcons, and I guess it's the 85 South, 85 North rivalry there between the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. I still don't feel like they're a rivalry. You can go head to head. The Atlanta Falcons usually dominate the Panthers, but like I said, not in these last 3 games. And so you have to tip your head off to the Carolina Panthers coaching staff. I feel like they have the Atlanta Falcons numbers. It's just the bottom line. I think the biggest thing about the Atlanta Falcons, which has been a consistent theme over these last 5 games, is being able to finish, right? The Atlanta Falcons have played really well for most parts of the game, but when it comes down to the actually down and distance and when you got to have it moments, they just don't have it. It's just the bottom line, right? And the NFL is, in reality, it's kind of like that, right? Every team is good. It's any given Sunday, and a lot of games come down to 1-score games. And when we look at the Atlanta Falcons over the last 5 games, they just don't get it done and gotta have moments, right? They just don't, and it's so unfortunate because the talent is there. And for the coaches call pretty good game for the most part, but when it got to have it moments, it just don't happen for the Atlanta Falcons. And that's, to be honest with you guys, this is being to have the Atlanta Falcons experience is what it boils down to. And yesterday, that's pretty much the same, right? Some of the stuff it just don't make any sense, right? The Atlanta Falcons get the ball with a little bit over a minute left. on the clock with 2 timeouts. They get a good return from Jamal Agnew, right? Put him in good field position. Um, they get a completion to David Seals. They get a completion to Bijan, and they got 2 timeouts. And then Raheem Morris, you know, let 15 to 20 seconds run off the clock to an incompletion, right? He hurries. He wanted to hurry the team up, and they get lined up, and then they throw an incompletion. But you let 20 seconds run off the clock. And my point is, if you don't have a good play call, you ain't got good protection ready. You got to force a throw for incompletion. Just call timeout, man. Get a good play call. And they probably could have won the game in regulation, right? You call timeout there. You got 30. And this is us, you know, doing Monday quarterback. However, trust me, in the game because I was there, I was putting my timeout saying up like Bijan caught that ball, 34 seconds on the clock. Call timeout, man. Regroup. Let's get a good play call and then go on for there. Instead, he rushed the team up to the line and then you get an incomplete, but you let 15 seconds run off the clock. Now we down to 20 some seconds, and now you're trying to play catch up, man, and that's not good. And so those are some kind of things that happen in this game, right? You give up a long drive on the defensive side of the ball, so both sides of the field ball just did not get it done yesterday at all. It just didn't, right? Special teams actually was not a issue for us yesterday. The kicking game was good, field goal, the coverage was good, um, but what was not good was the offense and defense. Offense, the first half was really good. I thought they put up a lot of points. They did really good in the red zone. I think they scored on every red zone trip they had in the first half. Um, but the second half they only put up 6 points. It's just that is. I still believe if Michael Penix would have played, they would have been able to win that game. I just think Kirk coming in the middle, trying to deal with this game plan that Zach Robinson had set up, it just didn't work, right? Time on task, chemistry, and things like that. I think Kirk Cousins probably played better once he get a full week of practice. We'll definitely get to see that. But this Panthers game is just it's kind of a microcosm of what we have seen from the Atlanta Falcons this season, right? Go back to the Panthers game, to the 49ers game, and then the 5-game losing streak that we have been on. And you say, this is pretty much this who this team is, right? They talented team, got all the pieces in the world, but just can't get it done, right? And I know, it's crazy because we know they care, and you can see it in the look on their face. They're so upset, but they're just not getting it done, right? They're not delivering when they need to deliver. They make so many plays in this game. It's not like they're getting ran out the building, right? That's only happened twice this season. They got ran out. That Carolina game, that Miami game. But for the most part, Atlanta Falcons had opportunity to win pretty much every other game that on their schedule beside those two. And it's just unfortunately they're not being able to close. And that's where we look at this game and we break down this game. And you can talk about, the numbers and stats. This really don't matter because it was more about when you had to make a play, you didn't, and they did. That's really what it boils down to. When you had to make a play, offense or defense, they did, you didn't. It's just that simple. Um, and until Atlanta Falcons start to make plays and stop the other team from making plays, they're gonna still end up on the short end of the stick, and that's it. I did have one correction. We did phone the ball on the kickoff return. However, it was no points given up on that drive. So no points off turnover from Natron Brooks, right? He fumbled the ball, but they tried to go for it on fourth down. We stuffed them. No points at all, right? So that even though it was a turnover on special teams by Natron Brooks, the Carolina Panthers came away with no points on that drive because they went for it on fourth down, and Caden Ellis made a big stop on Bryce Young on the sideline. So there you have it. So guys, let me know what you think about this Panthers game. For me, um, it's just who the Atlanta Falcons are. Pretty much sums up their season in a nutshell, right? That's that's how we live, right? We don't been to Atlanta Falcons have been in a lot of overtime games since Raheem Morris um, took over in the last since last year, right? You go to the Commanders game last year. You go to the the Indianapolis game last week. You go to this week right here. You go to the Carolina Panthers game last year. Like we don't been in a lot of overtime games, which, like I said, which means the Atlanta Falcons could have a definitely different record because that means they're battling these teams. They just can't get it done in the end when it matters the most. So, right, probably should have won the overtime game against the New England Patriots if our kicker made the field goal. There's just so many opportunities that this team has had to come away with a win, and they're just not getting it done. And we can pinpoint the coaching, right? Definitely 100%. You can pinpoint the coaching, but man, the coaching also coaches the plays where guys when we had 6 sacks, two interceptions, they coach those same plays, right? They coach those plays too, and and it must be the situational coaching is not there, and the situational play from the players is not there as well. So I think both have culpability in this and culpability in this, and it's just not good. That's just the bottom line. So let's get some of these other comments here. Let's just say Penny won't play again unless they're in the playoff hunt. No, I agree with that. That he's not going to play again. A good young rising smart coach. Yeah, he definitely our coach. Um, I coach freaking Atlanta Falcons 3 times in a row. It's just that simple. Um, DD March 23 says the Falcons are 3-7. Yes, they are. So disappointing. They're not close to a playoff team. No, they're not. You are what your record say you are. They're just about one. Hey Tonta, what's up, T Terry? Right. But that there you have it. The Panther game, like it's really nothing else to really much to go into the X's and O's. It's just Atlanta Falcons don't make the plays when they gotta make the plays, and other teams that do, they always do. And Atlanta Falcons, and the old cliche is that good teams win games like this. That's what's going on, Christy. Good teams win games like this, and the Atlanta Falcons obviously are not a good team because the last 3 weeks, right? And if you want to add the 49er game in there as well, the Atlanta Falcons could have won all those games. The 49ers game, it was 13-10, right? We don't get the fourth down conversion. Um, and they go away and they score in that next drive, makes it look like it's a bigger lead than it was, right? You go to the New England game, right? 23-24. We kick that field goal, make it. We tied 24-24. We don't know what could happen. All bets are off, right? Indianapolis, same thing. Opportunity to win that game. Played great on defense. Offense just could not get it done. And then this past weekend, the same thing. So this team is probably just not a good team, right? Because good teams find a way to win these kind of games. You go look at the Kansas City Chiefs last year. I think pretty much 11 or 12 of their games were one-score games, and that's the opposite, right? You look at what Kansas City was able to do last year in one-score games, and now you look at what the Atlanta Falcons are doing in one-score games, and it's the opposite, complete opposite, right? So Some teams find a way to win, and some teams don't. And right now, the Atlanta Falcons is the team that just found a way to lose, like try to find a way to win. So T. Terry says Michael Penner Jr. with the Falcons might be over. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, the future. But I like your thought process there, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Um, Darren Dixon said, "Y'all stink. We sure do." Hey, I can't argue with what people say when they say what they say. We need a salvage some dignity. Yes, we do. We got 7 games left. Let's see, can we get it done? Um, Say get rid of Pitts and quarterback back. Yeah, sure. Yep. I didn't understand your statement, brother. All right, that's enough about the Panthers, man. Congratulations, Panther beating Atlanta Falcons 3 straight times. Just saying. Just saying, man. Just saying. Just saying. All right, so this is right here. You look at what my title of the show today, and it say "Life of a Falcon Fan." So let's talk about Falcons fandom, right? And I have spoke on this, numerous times, about being a being a fan of the Falcons, right? Um, and it comes with you gotta really love your team. That's what it really boils down to. Um, because let's be honest, the Atlanta Falcons probably have more losing seasons than have winning seasons, right? Um, and in the reality, the most winning they have done is being with Matt Ryan, right? That's probably the winningest time in this franchise history is been with Matt Ryan. Now, Atlanta Falcons have had some fun seasons. Don't get me wrong. You go back to, you know, the two legit quick seasons with prime time here and Jerry Glanville, those guys. Um, you go back to the Dan Reeves years, right? We went to the Super Bowl in 1998. Go back to the Michael Vick years when he was just electrifying. Um, but we didn't win a lot. People forget about that. We had only 2 winning seasons with Michael Vick, but he was electrifying. I do agree. Um, but the most winning we have done in franchise history is with the Michael Penix. I mean, with the Matt Ryan years. It's just a fact, right? Um, but in that, even during that time, we went to one NFC Championship game, went to a Super Bowl, went to a divisional playoff game, went to first round exit a couple of times, but we did win. So you go back and look at those years. We had promise. We had opportunity. We got to a tournament a couple of times. We had opportunity to say we were going to have opportunity to win the Super Bowl, right? Um, but to be Atlanta Falcons fan, you just got to know what you're dealing with, man. Right? And sometimes I because I got season tickets. Everybody knows that. You guys know that by me. I have season tickets, so I go to the game and I question why I go, and I question why I'm a fan. I don't know. I can't explain it, guys. After all these seasons as an Atlanta Falcons fan, I cannot explain why I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. I don't know why. Right, and all I can say is it's like mental torture, I guess. Like I am that fan that lives and dies with the team wins and losses. I really am. When they lose, it messes up my day. So I'm that fan. So when I say the whole title real Falcon fan, it is the truth, right? Um, so man, if you're a real Falcon fan and this is what you come to be used to, right? But you're hoping one day, right? And we only need one because as a fan of a team, you get the glory one time. We almost had it twice. We went to Super Bowl in 1998, went to Super Bowl in 2016. We almost went in 2012, right? So those three years, we really had opportunity to do something special, right? And I remember those years. I remember the Michael Vick year when we went to the NFC Championship game and we lost to the Eagles. Got blown out in that game, right? And that also was the year that Michael Vick actually was the first team to beat Green Bay in Lambeau Field, if you guys remember that. So we have some special moments, as Atlanta Falcon fan. We have had special moments, but most of the time we have had these kinds of moments that we have right now, where it's just an early disappointment, right? This is not a team to where you expected the team to be 3-7, right? And that's why it's so upsetting, right? You look at teams like the Tennessee Titans that's losing, look at New York Jets just losing. Those teams got new coaches. You can see where they're still trying to figure out things. They don't have as much talent, you know, as the Atlanta Falcons. And so you understand where, why they're in the position they're in. Atlanta Falcons is the enigma, man. They got a talented team. This team is not lack of talent. It does not. It has holes. Every team has holes. Atlanta Falcons do have holes in spots, right? Probably need another receiver. Probably another, some depth linebacker. Probably another cornerback, right? It's just some pieces, right? They still got a young quarterback that's was going to make mistakes and things like that. So you understand some of the things that was going to happen. But the problem with this team is that it's underachieving so much that this is why we all sick to our stomach, going into week 12. It's just the bottom line, because this team is nowhere near living up to the potential that it could be. Um, so being a fan, it's an old saying, right? The Falcons lose in the only way the Falcons know how to lose, right? And the problem with this is that it doesn't matter what coach GM comes in, they always lose the same way. They always lose the same way. It's like we used to this, right? We should be numb to this, but we get food every year, right? We get hyped up every year. We look at the team, we look at what's on paper, we look at the potential, and what happens is this: they do it to us again. They do it to us again. So I appreciate all you Falcon fans that's like me that stay here with the team, because that's just the way it is. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna be here when they win. And they're gonna win. I'm telling you, they're gonna win. And I'm gonna be here when they win. Because if I can put myself through all these years of letdown and disappointment, I can stick it out. So when they win, it'll be worth it. Right? I'm not gonna be like the Ain't fans and put bags over my head and stuff like that. No, come on here weekly and proud and talk about this team, how disappointed I am. And like we almost had it. I mean, the Falcons have so many different ways that we really should be like, oh well, they doing the Falcon thing, right? I mean, that's what they do, man. They know how to lose games. And it doesn't matter if we got a new coach in, doesn't matter if we got a new GM in, no matter who's at quarterback, no matter who's on the defensive side of the ball. Atlanta Falcons have lost the craziest games. Do you remember the Dallas game a couple of years ago, the onside kick? And they all just stood there and watched the ball just shoot. Right? You remember that game? You remember when Matt Ryan told Todd Gurley not to score, and he scored, and Matthew Stafford got the ball with like 40 seconds on, went down and scored a touchdown. Oh man. Of course, we remember the Super Bowl 2083. Um, I remember we had the Green Bay Packers, and they just destroyed us at home. They destroyed us. Then that's the year the Green Bay Packers went to the Super Bowl. I think it was 2010, if I'm not mistaken. Right? They went to the Super Bowl and they beat the Steelers. I think that's the season. Right? So um, we had a 1 year, and all the teams that beat us, they went to Super Bowl. We had 1 year. The Giants came in and we went. I think we had to go to the Meadowlands and they beat us. And then guess what? That Giants team went to the Super Bowl. Right? The Philadelphia Eagles, they went to the Super Bowl. The teams that beat us in the playoffs, though we had all those years, right? So Atlanta Falcons has had a lot of talent, and I'm gonna give you some good stuff, right? Because over the last, let's say, 30 years since 1995, right, and we have had more success as a franchise than a lot of more franchises that everybody always talking about. You know what I mean? Like the Dallas Cowboys, right? We have had more success than a lot of teams in the last 30 years than a lot of teams had. We have not got over the top. We have not got over the hill, but we have had a lot of more success. So I'm telling you guys, this team is talented. The pieces are there, right? Now I don't know how they're going to fix it. I'm not going to sit here and try to figure out what's going to happen. We're going to talk about what's next in just a minute. But all I know is one day, I don't know when, not this year. We know it's not this year. Could be next year, right? We'll get back on that bandwagon next year, right? We'll get back on the bandwagon next year. But one day, the Atlanta Falcons will win. And we're going to, and you guys that's like me, that's been here since, for me, the late 80s, right? I've been here since the late 80s, man. And since that time, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy the Atlanta Falcons, man. I'm gonna enjoy Atlanta Falcons. Trey Coop said they need to rebuild. And maybe, if that's what it takes, let's do it. Let's rebuild. Let's do that. Whatever it takes, man. But what I'm trying to say is, as an Atlanta Falcon fan, because you have to love this shit to be a fan. I'm just telling you, right? And I left the Atlanta Hawks because I couldn't take it no more. I won't do that to the Falcons, and I should, man. They even broke my heart so many times, man. And like I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve with this team. I do. It ruined my day. It ruined my probably like my first 3 days of the week when they lose. It really does, man. I be trying to like get over it, but I don't know why. I don't know why. I wish I could. I wish I could be like, man, whatever. But that's what called a fanatic, right? I'm a fanatic for the Atlanta Falcons. It is what it is. I wish I wasn't, but I am. I wish I could explain it, but I can't. So I understand everybody angst and gripes and stuff like that. You want to see better, but believe me, we seen worse. And like I said, just look around the league, all the other teams, and say we better than that team. We better and that make you feel better because like we better than that team. We better than that team. That franchise. Look at the Cleveland Browns. They had a quarterback since Bernie Kosar, right? Um, right. Look at the New York Jets. They had a quarterback since since Joe Namath, right? I'm just telling you guys, to make you feel better. Just make you feel better. Just look at some of these franchises that way worse off than we are. They really are. We just need to figure out what is our issue. Last thing I'm gonna say about this. A couple years ago, a guy came on my page and he said the Atlanta Falcons are cursed because they moved all the church the churches from downtown, right? You know, they relocated the churches and they built the Mercedes-Benz stadiums on there. And he said, because we did that, those Baptist churches that we had downtown, he said we cursed, man. And now I don't believe in superstitions, things like that. But man, maybe right, man. The Atlanta Falcons has not had. They seem cursed, right? Because the way they lose games is just like you. How can you lose the same way all the time? Like, won't you think you do something different? And like I said, it doesn't matter the coach, right? Because we lost when Arthur Smith was here. We was losing the same ways. We were losing the same way. Arthur Smith was here. Mike Smith was here. We lose the same way. Dan Quinn was here. We was losing the same way, right? I don't know. I can't explain it, man. We have lost the craziest ways as any other franchise, you know. And right now, the Atlanta Falcons are losers. And that's what it boils down to. All right, let's get some of these comments in before I go to my last topic of the day. Chrissy said, "What's my perspective for this week?" It's Saints week, man. That's my perspective for this week. Is the Saints week. It's hate week. Despite this is one thing I can tell you this: the Atlanta Falcons are 3-7, but if we beat the Saints twice, that'll make our year. So I'm just throwing it out there. Falcons beat the Saints twice, and we'll be good. Beat the Saints twice, and we'll be good. So that's the way I feel about this Saints week, man. They had 2 weeks to prepare for us. We don't care. We're ready. Go in there, Kirk Cousins. Put your Kirko hat on and do what you got to do, man, and represent. So that's my predictions for this week. Third said new coach, get rid of everybody. So the running back in London, he said get rid of everybody. It's rough for those of us out of state. Yeah, man. And I respect you guys from out of state even more. I'm telling you, if you're a Falcon fan, if you don't even live in the state, I respect you guys a lot, man. Telling you. Y'all some diehard fans. I love you guys, man. Keep it up, man. Don't go away. A Falcon post that saw Deshaun Watson with Atlanta Falcons jersey on it. Man, please. We don't want to go there. We don't care about what you say, Eddie. Eddie, you're a Cowboy fan, so you don't count. Eddie said no comparison. No, you're right. I agree. The Atlanta Falcons is no comparison to America's team because we actually have success in the last 30 years. Good point. Absolutely not. The owner wants to win now. A couple of pieces, smarter coaching. They are there and think of it. He said, don't rebuild. Yeah. Been saying it for 8 years. Fire everybody. They say, come on back to the light skinned Atlanta Hawks. Ricondo, the Hawks winning now. Yeah, they're gonna let you down. I'm sorry, big dog. They're gonna let you down. They're gonna let you down, man. The Hawks worse than the Falcons. They really are. They really are. The Hawks worse than the Falcons, man. I live in Aints country. That's what I'm talking about. Represent. So you live in Aints country. That means we have to win it for you this weekend, then, so you can have bragging rights. You have bragging rights. He said, "Bye, Felicia. LOL. American teams about to play. Nobody care about the. I hope they lose. Let's go, Las Vegas Raiders. Let's go. Let's go, Las Vegas Raiders. All right, last point, guys. When we get up out of here for the day. Moving forward, right? So we have a lot of comments on here about what the Atlanta Falcons should do, right? We got Michael Penix out, Drake London out, 3-7. What should be the plan moving forward? So I think this helps Raheem Morris a little bit. The fact that Michael Penix is hurt, I think it helps Raheem Morris in a good way. I think it kind of saves his job for one more year. Because we have to see if Michael Penix is the guy. Right? Injury aside, man, injuries happen, right? I know Michael Penix have an injury history and things like that, but um, TB12 had an ACL injury, right? You guys remember that? Came back and won multiple Super Bowls. So see, career is not over. So I want to say that because I heard it say his career might be over. Now, if the Atlanta Falcons decide to move to a different coaching regime, maybe that could be the case. Maybe the new coach, like I said, don't want like Michael Penix, didn't like where he plays, right? And maybe they just want to move in a different direction. So, the new coaching staff coming here, maybe Michael Penix's career is over. But I feel like um, his injury maybe helps Raheem in a way that um, Arthur Blank want to let him, have his quarterback for an entire season and see what he actually can do, and see can he do that. I don't know. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case. Um, but the problem I have with it is, you guys, like, what is the alternative? Who is the alternative? I mean, when I say what is who, right? What coaching staff that you can tell me that's going to come in here and change this franchise around? I don't know. So for me to be like starting over and hoping the next guy you pick is the guy, you just don't have an idea what the next guy is going to be able to do. You just don't, man. You thinking you do. You thinking that the next guy come in is going to fix things, right? You don't have that guy. You just don't. So, and then like I said, it depends on the pieces you got, right? You got to take the talent that's on this team and utilize the talent the right way. And despite the record and things like that, I think they have been using, especially on the defense side of the ball, they have been using the talent the correct way on the defense side of the ball. Offense side of the ball, not so much. That's why you can see a coaching change on the offense side of the ball and vice the whole coaching staff, and maybe you might see a change there, maybe. But I'm not, I'm not lobbying for Raheem Morris to stay. If he goes, he deserves to go. So I'm not lobbying for him to stay at all. I'm just saying what potentially could be the case because Michael Penix went out. Um, Now we have to see how Kirk Cousins plays, right? If he could push this team to be, to a winning record in the last 7 games, maybe that saves Raheem as well, right? We just don't know, right? But the thing I think about when I'm thinking about um, the future here is that it's still up in the air, right? I know a lot of people. We even seen the chants in the stadium yesterday talk about fire Raheem and things like that. I guess they're trying to start the fire Nico chants in Atlanta, um, because he's underachieving as a coach, and you know his resume is not stellar at all, right? He got his losing record. He has a losing record at last head coaching job. He got a losing record as Atlanta Falcons head coach. They're losing right now. Despite having all the talent in the world on his team. So he does not get a glaring endorsement from nobody, right? But like I said, what is the alternative? That's what you got to ask yourself, right? You're gonna bring in a brand new coach who have never been a head coach before, and hopefully he figure it out. Are you gonna bring a retread coach in? There's another team that got let go from another team. Like those are the kind of things you got to think about, man. I'm just sitting here just thinking, and off the top of my head, only guy that I probably would think that come in is John Gruden, like, right, because he won, right. I think he stayed around the game long enough. I think he's a really good offensive mind that can probably help the young quarterback out, and then he could bring in a solid veteran coaching staff that'll come in and help this team be where it needs to be, right? That's the only person I can think about. I know a lot of people like these young coaches that, right? I mean, people pick Mike McDaniel's, from the Dolphins. I can see him as an offensive coordinator, but not a head coach, right? Matt LaFleur been named before now. Now he's a guy that's been proven, right? And if Green Bay stooping up, let him go, yes, maybe, but I don't see a surefire new hire here that you can bring in and be like, that guy is going to be the guy that's going to take you to soaring, because you can bring this young, fresh. We got some good young coaches out there. Well, you don't know how it's going to work. They probably was good in the position they was in at their last stop, but you're asking that young coach to come in and be the CEO of a whole franchise, a franchise that's been littered with inconsistencies and no accountability from his players and coaches and things like that. That's what you're asking a young coach to come in to do. So I think Arthur Blank is going to hesitate just a little bit, right? Because you got to have a plan, right? If you're gonna decide to let Raheem go, and like I said, he has every right. There's no reason to keep him at all. But if they do decide to let him go, what would be the alternative, man? I'm just asking. Somebody can fill me in. If you got some kind of bright coach that you know is going to come in, like that's the guy we need, and if you bring him in, it's going to turn everything around, right? Because you got to have the pieces, right? You look at what you got. You got a good young core on defense, a good young core on offense, right? You got to fill in the holes in all the other spots. But who's going to put that young core together and make it freaking achieve what it should be achieving on a week to week basis? That's the question, man. That's the question. There's no accountability being held, right? Like you put guys out there, like for me, like I could never be a coach because either you can play or you can't play. Like Natron Brooks, we got burnt him a couple of times. He been out of the game. I put somebody else in. Like, why I'm wasting my time putting you out there and you gonna just keep getting burnt, right? If you the best we got and you keep getting burnt, we in trouble, right? So I would go. So I would put Kobe Bryant in. Let him try it. Like, you know, JD Bertrand. They finally took him out, right? Because they saw the anemic play he was having. Those are the kind of things. I'm not sitting here saying that the Atlanta Falcons should keep Raheem Morris. Listen to what I'm saying because I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is who who's going to replace him? Who's going to replace him? And don't say me some coach that ain't never had been a head coach before because to me that's setting you up, maybe setting you up for a failure. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just like I don't know. Like you're going to be Arthur Smith was this smart, offensive minded coach coming in and he was going to do some wonders. And the head coaching spot part was not his forte. Raheem Morris is a great players coach, great defensive coordinator, but head coaches might not be his forte. So I'm saying, man, if you're gonna do it again, you need to come and remember. I was the guy who wanted Bill Belichick. Go back and look at the videos. I'm happy they got Raheem. I was happy they got Raheem at the end. Like, okay, maybe this might work this second time, right? And he screwed it up because he went and got two novice play callers to come in and screw his whole freaking game plan up, man. He failed. But I wanted Bill Belichick. I wanted somebody that was going to hold player accountable. Um, no nonsense. He was going to the whole thing. Do your job. That's what Bill plays, and that's what we don't see from this Atlanta Falcons team. Guys don't do their damn job, man. They're not in the right places. You 3rd and 21, you call coverage. I went on record saying that I think they should have pressured. right? But we in Indianapolis, you 3rd and 21, game on the line, you call pressure, and then you let the guy run for 19 yards. No coaches ain't out there. No coaches out there for that. That's the player's fault. They let this dude scramble for 19 yards, 4th and 2. Like, they're not executing when they need to execute, man. And somebody be held accountable for that. That's what I'm saying. You hold the kickers accountable. They miss one kick, they get cut, right? Right, man. Huge plays not being made, right? You go back and look at that game. Who gave up the touchdown to McMillan yesterday? Who gave it to him, right? They look at him like, man, hold accountable, man. Like, the game is on the line. You messed up right here. This is why we lost. They need to be called out. And maybe this happening. I don't know. But, like, it seems like nobody hold accountable. That's why, Bill Belichick even got on Tom Brady, right? You got to get on your best players, hold them accountable when they screw up, right? So it won't happen again. But too many times, guys ain't in the right spots, right? You would think 3rd and 21, you play coverage. If the guys come out, you can come and get him for a tackle, and he won't pick up 19 yards on the scramble, right? Like, Atlanta Falcons just undisciplined. They don't make the right space, and that's if that's coaching, because the coaching is not holding. He's not holding his players accountable, and he's not holding his coaches accountable, and that's why you're a losing team. Just the bottom line. So moving forward, I think Michael Penix might have helped him. Don't want to say that 100%. Not sure. But I still think these next 7 games is really going to determine Raheem Morris' fate. That's what I believe. I believe these next 7 games is going to be really important to determine where their teams go. I think the rest of the season we need to see more growth from our 2 young first round picks from this draft, and James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker. We need to see that growth. We need to see where Zach Harrison, the potential he's going to bring to this team. Of course, our 2 young defensive backs and Billy Bowman and Xavier Watts see their growth as well. So we have an opportunity to see these young guys get more and more experience and get better and better throughout the rest of this season. That's what we want to see from the defensive side. Luke Roro, Brandon Dorless, James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker, Billy Bowman, Xavier Watts, right? We want to see all those guys. We want to see even Braylon Trice, once he come back, see if he can get in the mix and start to do some things special, right? We haven't got to see Braylon Trice play, right? Offense side of the ball, right? We want to see if Casey Washington can be, a productive player. If he's just a flash in the pants, he had like 1 or 2 good games this season. We want to see that. We want to see what those guys going to be about, right? We already know we're getting out of Drake. We already know we're getting Brian B. John. You want to know if Kyle Pitts is worth the contract next season. You want to know that, right? Those are the kind of things you want to see the rest of this season, right? It's Terry Fontenot as a general manager. If you got the security saying you're going to be here next year, those some of the things you definitely need to start looking at and see the holes you need to fill in, moving forward, right? Of course, now quarterback is going to be a big topic for next season, right? Depending on Michael Penix Jr. injury, we know we do got Kirk Cousins for another year because we owe him $10 million anyway, right? Because they already guaranteed it this year for that, so he will be here next year. And he could start the season as the starter for the Atlanta Falcons. So it's a lot of things to think about moving forward. But for the most part, I think experience for our young core is probably going to be the utmost for all those guys. That's what needs to happen. The experience for those guys. And the last thing I'm gonna say is 2 wins against the Saints, and if we do that, we'll be good to go. There you have it. Let's look at some of these comments. See how many people disagree with what I was talking about with Raheem Morris, because I'm pretty sure we had a lot of disagreements there. Eddie says absolutely not. The owner wants to win now. Oh yeah, I read that one. He said come back to the read those. Christian said she's going to the game. Awesome. I went to the game last year. Young Way Cool missed 3 kicks. We had that game. See, that's where we lose, man. Trey said I'd be delusional. I'm not delusional, man. I'm just being honest with reality. Bring in the mailman, Georgia Bulldogs, most famous quarterback. London maybe outside for the rest of the season. He definitely could be. Definitely could be. Delusional, like when you thought Kirk Cousins was gonna be a good signing. Yeah, I was delusional. I ain't disagreeing with you on that. I'm not delusional about this because I ain't saying nothing. I didn't say nothing for sure, a fact, or what I thought was gonna happen. I'm just saying what I'm thinking they're gonna do. I don't have no idea what's gonna happen this season. All I'm saying is if you do fire him, hopefully they don't come in with this young rookie quarterback coach and be like, yeah, we're gonna do some things. Like how you know you ain't did shit in your life. You just like Arthur Smith. They give the man a break and a chance. He only had a year and a half of coaching the Falcons. He needs the opportunity to build a team, especially where he had from the start. Yeah, they're ready for him to go, man. They ain't listening to you. They're not listening to you. They ready. They want Raheem out. One of the worst coaches in Falcon history. If you want to call what he does coaching. Woo! Trey Coop, he out on Raheem, man. He out on him. He don't care. Because this might be a setup by sitting Michael Penix Jr. down because to prepare him for next season and let Kirk give the Falcons more than $100 million playing him. Could be, man. Could be. Definitely could be the case. I like that kind of process. You looking on the bright side. Since want to explosive minded coach, why bring in man? Okay, I just about said Jason Garrett. Man, let me go. I ain't even gonna hit listen to that crap. Um, every coach is the worst for Atlanta if they're losing. No, not every coach. I like the Dan Quinn, man. I like the Dan Quinn. Um, she had got rid of Pitts a long time ago. He a bust. He said go get Kirby. Kirby ain't leaving Georgia, man. If I were Kirby, I would never leave. I would never leave Georgia and go to the Falcons. That'd be freaking insane. It's gonna be cursed forever. So don't do that. Don't do that. Um, but guys, there you have it. You know what? I enjoyed coming here talking to you guys today about the Atlanta Falcons and living life as a Falcon fan, man. All you Falcon fans out there that have not left the team, that's gonna ride and die with us. Your boy Ricondo will be right here to live it with you, man. Week in and week out. And hopefully we get some more, victory Mondays coming up here soon. You know, the Atlanta Falcons got 2 more primetime games. I know the NFL guys like, oh, never again. We gave those guys 5 primetime games. Never again. Never again. You gotta think about it, man. We got Monday night against the Rams. We got a Thursday night against the Bucks, and the Atlanta Falcons. Don't tell them what their record is gonna be when those games come on. Sorry, it's gonna be a snooze fest for the ratings. It's gonna be a snooze fest for the ratings. I'm just telling you that right now. Definitely gonna be a snooze fest for the ratings. I guarantee the Atlanta Falcons gonna get no five primetime games for many of years after this year. Man, total letdown, 100%, no doubt about it. So there you have it, guys. Appreciate it, T Terry. Um, let me know what you think, man. About the Michael Penix Jr. injury, the Drake London injury, um, what this team is going to do for the rest of this season, what they're going to do, man. And then if you want to share some of your Falcons moments, um, what make you a Falcon fan and why you still here after the misery that we have endured over years and years and years. It's so many games, man. I think about playing Dan Marino and we got the lead. They come back and take that story is like that happened so many times. You just pick a quarterback and be like, we had the league, and they come back and take the lead against our defense and win. That happened so many times. In the Matt Ryan era, that probably happened like every week, right? Matt Ryan put up so many points, and then our defense give up the game. We seen so many of those moments, but we seen so many moments you can't even make up either, man. So many of those. So you know, we seen Atlanta Falcons lose. This 2 years ago. We seen Atlanta Falcons lose. A guy had got there on Tuesday or Wednesday of the week. Didn't even know the playbook for the Minnesota Vikings. And come in and beat us. Joshua Dobbs beat the Atlanta Falcons. Man, some stuff you can't make up, man. You cannot make it up. You cannot make it up, man. T. Terry said Kirk might get hurt. Yeah, he might. That really helped Raheem. If both your quarterbacks go down, he's going to have an excuse. Both my quarterbacks went down. What I was going to do? I have no choice. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Um, it is hate week. It is hate week. So once I get my mind right, talk about the Aints, and we'll get some good Aints stories and talk about this week, right? Because we are playing the New Orleans Aints this week, and I can promise you this: their fan base is gonna be there. They're gonna be loud because they playing the Falcons, and our fan base love going down there, putting on having a party, and we don't like them. They don't like us, right? All in good fun though, of course, and we want to beat them. So it's hate week, man. Um, we get 2 games like this a year, and this year, this one of those years which we have had in this series. Both teams suck. So, but it doesn't mean that both fan bases still want the other team to lose, right? So, man, that's what it's all about. So, I will come back and talk about Hate Week, um, and we can get up and talk about that. So, guys, there you have it. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.